So, here comes the positive points for Anansi Boys by Dark Lord AG. One of the positive points of the story is the comedy that is described on the story. For example, when the father of Fat Charlie's die, and Fat Charlie needs to go to the funeral of his father, and when he was in the funeral of his father, he said an inspirational speech to a crowd of people telling all the feelings that he has to his father. And this inspirational speech ended up when Fat Charlie noticed that he was in a grown funeral telling all his feelings to a woman that he never met. In addition, the story has a plot twist in the second chapter, making the story more interesting and fascinating to the reader.
Hey, it's Trainer Gus, and now we're going to talk about the negative points of Anansi Boys. First of all, the fantasy plot is not presented at all throughout the first chapter. The story is presented as common and ordinary. The main characters do normal activities and overcome day to day problems. They are not striking characters. Then, the story is a little bit vulgar. I mean, the situation that Fat Charlie's father passes are inappropriate in terms of language. It is not suitable for some people, especially for kids.
The type of fantasy of Anansi Boys is an intrusion fantasy, because the world is ruptured by the intrusion of fantasy, and this breaks all the normal things in the story. For example, the normal life of Fat Charlie is break when he knew that his father was the god Anansi.
The main characteristics of intrusion fantasy is that trajectory of intrusion is from denial to acceptance from the main character. Another one is that it is set in our world or a close real world.
So here comes the grade for Anansi Boys, and it is 5 Nicolas Cage. This is the maximum grade that Anansi Boys can achieve. We think that Anansi Boys deserve 5 Nicolas Cage because the story plays with the comedy and with the fantasy in an incredible way. We think that this this mix with comedy and fantasy give the story a lot of humor. It makes the story more enjoyable and likable, and make the reader to feel comfortable with the things that he's reading and to enjoy the story.